Hey, so you screwed up. Who cares? You screwed up. That's what happens. People screw up all the time. Hi, I'm Dave Guerin. This is Let's Have a Chat About Leadership for Thursday, May 7, 2020. And as you got it, you know what today's topic is. But again, that's what we talk about on Thursdays is lessons in leadership. And it's about taking ownership, especially when you screw up, especially when something went wrong. So let's get started with this. Again, this is Let's Have a Chat About Leadership, and this is the show where I remind you that everyone is either a leader or a future leader. And together, we're going to work on this, and we're going to all make new leaders, better leaders, stronger leaders, because you know and I know there is a trouble with leadership. There is a problem with leadership, and together we're going to fix it. So, as I said, tonight is Thursday, and on Thursdays we do lessons in leadership. The lesson in leadership topic is take ownership, especially when you screwed up. Folks, we're going to screw up. We have screwed up all our lives. And if anyone tells you they've never screwed up, they are lying to you. So now you got them. They're lying to you. Growing up as kids, we always messed up. We didn't know anything. We were just kids. We barely knew how to walk. We were just learning how to walk. Next thing you know, they want to put us on a big wheel. And then after that, they want to put us on a bicycle and take the training wheels off. And so what do? Training wheels are off, and we see kids doing the BMX stuff, and guess what? Next thing we know, we're building a ramp and we're jumping, and we screwed up. And, as kids, it's understandable. We don't want to get in trouble. We screwed up. We don't want to get in trouble. I get that. You get that. You experience that. You remember that. So we passed the buck. We pointed to somebody else. Who broke the bike? Who crashed your bike? That guy did, or so-and-so was using it, and Johnny Regal was using it, and he broke my bike, and all that, fully knowing well that it wasn't Johnny Regal. He was out behind the house getting stoned, and there was no way he was going to ride your bike. He was in no condition to ride anybody's bike. But yet, you point the finger. Your parents believed you the first time. Second time, they go to Johnny Regal's parents, and it's like, no, Johnny Regal has been smoking dope behind the house. We know this because we're ignorant parents. Anyway, so you get what I'm saying. Eventually, you're going to get caught. And when you get caught, well, guess what? That's not a good thing. You find that out really quick, don't you? Yeah, you do. So with that being said, we learn our lesson, hopefully. A lot of us do. Some people don't. Some people want to keep going and keep trying and keep pushing those buttons and keep trying to screw up because they think they can get away with it, or they think they can get over on somebody with that. But eventually it catches up with you, folks. It truly does. It got caught. It got caught up with me. There we go. So again, know that eventually you're going to have to learn that lesson and accept the fact that, hey, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you're not going to fool all the people all the time. And that's just the way it is. And that's a hard lesson to learn, especially for those knuckleheads who just say, hey, you know what? I scam that person. I'm going to scam this person, and I can scam everybody else. But guess what? Emergency rooms and prisons are full of those people. And in some cases, the same people. It happens. So again, can't be scamming people. You have to take ownership. You mess up, you screw up, then you fess up. It's just that simple. And that's really, truly the only way to go. And at what point do you decide, hey, it's time to fess up? Well, everybody's different. You have to have that support, that family support. You have to have that support of, well, do you want to just keep being better? Or you just want to be a screw up all your life? One of those situations. But eventually it's going to catch on, and you're going to realize that, hey, through the knowledge, the wisdom, and my experience, I've realized that, it's a little bit better to fess up, a little bit better to take that ownership than it is to, well, screw up. That being said, you've got to always step up and show your ethics, your morals, your character, who you are, what you're made of. Show people what you're made of. And especially what you've made of yourself. You've got to show people what you've become. Because, yeah, you could be that kid that's always passing the buck, whining, complaining, but at some point, you grow up. At some point now, it becomes a situation where, people are looking up to you. Why? Because, again, you've stepped up. You're showing them what you're made of. You're putting your ethics, your morals, your standards out there, and they're not going to be compromised. Your standards are not going to be compromised. But if your standard is of scamming individuals and scamming others near and far, then guess what? You have no standards. You have no standards. You have nothing to stand on. And it's hard to say, but I say it because I have experienced that in others close, others far away. I've experienced that what they're made of is in a distant, faraway planet for some people. What they're made of is in a lifetime of getting over on people, and yet they still want to try to pull the same scam. What they're made of is lack of ethics, lack of morals, in the sense of on the positive side. Sure, they might have ethics and morals where there's honor among thieves kind of thing, but that's not everyday modern society, especially leadership. Sure, it might be cute. It might be fun when you're 16, 17, but your 30s, your 40s, it's still not, that's not a good thing. And definitely once you get into your 50s, 60s, and 70s, that's just freaking pure nonsense. And yeah, it is pure nonsense. Totally, completely undeniable nonsense. So when you take ownership, realize that you've now done something good for yourself. You've now elevated yourself to a new place by taking ownership of what went wrong, what you screwed up on, what you broke, what you destroyed, what you failed to do, whatever it happens to be. You take ownership of it. I've taken ownership of a lot of stuff I've done. And when it's time for me to take ownership, I will step up and take ownership because, again, pulling that Band-Aid off is going to be a little bit easier than sitting around there pointing fingers and lying and scamming and, scheming. And you realize, wait a minute, it takes more work to do that because you're trying to keep your story straight. Eventually it comes out. So no, it's just a lot easier to take ownership because it also does one other nice little thing. If someone else knows the truth and you're over there passing the buck, blaming others, whatever, it takes that by taking ownership, it takes that power away from the others that want to hold it over you. It really, truly does. And that's the beauty of it, is that I love being able to say, you know what, I got this. This is my fault. This is me. And I will go out there. And if I did something wrong in front of a large group of people, I have done it in the past. I probably will do it again in the future, just like you have, just like you probably will. But you know what? It's also gratifying to see the look on people's faces when you step up in front of that crowd or that group and you say, you know what? I messed up. I should not have done that. This is what I did wrong, and this is how I'm going to correct it. The look on those people's faces is awesome because you're giving yourself back the power. You're giving yourself the power because you do not hesitate to step in and step up and to admit your mistakes, to admit your shortcomings, to admit your errors, to admit your omissions, what you've done, what you failed to do. You admit all of that. And guess what? That's so empowering. It makes you more confident. It makes you more, you want to hold your head up a little higher. It's not about pride, but it's about understanding that, hey, you mess up. You're taking that ownership and no one else can hold that over you. No one can come back and say, well, you know what? Dave did this. And guess what? You're like 5 years too late. Dave already fessed up about that. And again, same thing. So the results, like I said, and the outcomes will not sting as much as in when you get caught lying, folks. When you get caught lying, you're caught, you get your hook in your mouth, and that's just more embarrassing. That's just more frustrating. That's just more restricting to who you are because, again, it shows people that, hey, you're not a person of character. You're not a person that has values. You're not a person that's morally right. You're not a person who has these ethics. So it's just a lot easier to just fess up and say the truth. And trust me, it is a lot easier to do that. Other people won't believe you, but then again, that's their problem. You have to go to sleep with yourself. You wake up with yourself. You look yourself in the mirror every day. And if you do that without any concern, without any with conviction, but without any concerns that you're going to get caught today. Is today the day I get caught? Oh, why would you be in that position? Because you're not lying, because you're out there telling the truth, because you're out there taking ownership, because taking ownership does make the sting feel a little bit less. Yeah, you shouldn't have done it, but you did it anyway. Yeah, you had a 50-50 shot. This could turn out great or this could be terrible. Either way, you take ownership and it feels pretty good taking that ownership because, again, no one else can claim it. No one else can hold it over you. No one else can contradict you. No one can put, anything negative on you, really, because at that point, you've got it made. You're under control. You've got it. And folks, that's a big plus. And in life, being able to, well, take ownership, especially when you screw up, there's nothing better than that. Because again, like I said, it's all about you and who you are and what you've become, what you've made yourself. And that says a lot about a leader. So be that leader. Now, if you happen to be following individuals that are quick to point fingers and blame others for their own shortcomings, you're following the wrong person. You're following a bad manager at best, not a leader. And that's just it. That's the bottom line. And that's all there is to it, folks. That's all there is to it. So again, stop with the lying. Don't lie. Stop the lying right here, right now. Change your attitude, change your mindset, fess up, admit that there was mistakes, admit that there was problems, and you'll see your life instantly turn around. And as a leader, people want that kind of a leader. People will flock to that kind of a leader. People will flock to you. Because again, if you're a leader that is always out there taking the blame, because leaders make mistakes. But if they're quick to point others and look at that mistake over there, or look at that mistake, they're not leaders. Those people are not leaders. Don't be fooled by them. Do not be fooled by them. The leader that makes a mistake and admits it, that's the one I want to follow, because they know what they're doing. They know they're human. They know they make mistakes, but they also know that, hey, I recognize I made a mistake and we're going to move forward from it. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it. We're going to get some knowledge. We're going to get some experience. And most of all, we're going to get some wisdom. And folks, a leader that shares his wisdom is a leader worth following. Listen, everyone, I want to thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a great evening. If you watch this post, I thank you. Thank you for your time. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll be back again tomorrow when we close out with Forbes Friday. Until then, have a good evening. Peace.